Hello and welcome to BrookesTV News. I'm Ella Hunt.
And I'm Annabelle Bastide.
The Oxford Brookes Weekly campus is due to be shutting this summer.
However, there will be an impact on travel for staff and students. Joe Wilson has more.
The Oxford Brookes Weekly campus is due to shut in 2024, with current engineering and mathematics students transferring to the main site at Headington Hill. With the expansion here at Oxford Brookes University, 110 parking spaces have had to be closed. However, this has affected some of the staff members that work here.
The times it does affect me, I've got a medical parking permit and sometimes I'm not well enough to cycle, and now is one of those times. So when I have to drive, it means I have to come in really super early to guarantee getting a space. I don't know what I'd do if I didn't feel like I had a good excuse to say, actually, no, I need that extra space.
With the restrictions on parking, many are turning to other options to get to the university, such as the Brookes bus, which runs from student accommodation in the Cowley area to the Park and Ride and university. We spoke with some students to see how they find it.
We came here because the 100 was supposed to turn up in 2 minutes and now it isn't coming.
It started becoming like 20-25 minutes later.
Has been causing people to miss the buses because they can't take on any more people, so yeah, not too great.
However, Oxford Brookes University is aware of the issues and is working to find resolutions. With an increased number of buses, including electric buses like these, students are able to move between campus and accommodation easily. To find out more about the transport situation, we spoke with Ashley Hayden.
We regularly meet with Oxford Bus Company, who run our bus network, the Brookes bus network, but we've just received 21 EV buses onto the Brookes bus fleet. The university is looking to introduce a new car parking management strategy during the summer. From October of this year, you might be aware of something called traffic filters, that restrict people who can drive through these areas. Holloway is one of them, for example. So we are hoping the service will actually need less capacity because it will actually be delivering on time.
Oxford Brookes is hoping that their bus service will continue to improve. Joseph Wilson reporting for BrookesTV News.
The risk of flooding is an ongoing issue in Oxford, affecting areas across the city. In January, severe flooding caused further concern among residents.
Our reporter, Jake Gutteridge, went to find out what is being done to improve public safety.
The people of Oxford are no strangers to excessive flooding. Especially in the winter and spring, many areas of the city are at a high risk of being submerged in water that reaches high levels and affects local services.
The city is at high risk of flooding due to being situated in a low, narrow area of the Thames Valley, with water travelling downstream from the river when it overflows. In periods of wet weather, residents and businesses are at high risk.
We've had very high river levels in January and February. These are the highest in January that we've seen for 10 years, so this is quite a significant level. At the moment there's something like 1,000 properties that are vulnerable to flooding in a very large scale event, so the kind of thing you'd expect to see once in 100 years. If climate change predictions are correct, that's going to rise to several thousand over the next few decades. And it's serious, and if we had a very large scale flood, the costs run into tens of millions.
The terrain of Oxford includes a slight incline from east to west, and areas such as Oseney Island and South Hinksey have been the worst affected by past floods. Villages and suburbs in the northwest of the city are particularly vulnerable. A public inquiry for a solution to the flooding issue was completed in January. The Oxford Flood Alleviation Scheme is being developed by the Environment Agency in partnership with local government to provide defences against levels of flooding last seen in 1947. The scheme involves creating a new relief stream spanning from Botley Road down to the River Thames near Kennington. Designed to draw flood water away from populated areas, it will protect the main infrastructure and properties near the floodplain. If the scheme goes ahead, it's claimed it will be enough to protect the city against flooding for the next 100 years, saving £1.5 billion in reparation costs and providing security for thousands living in the most vulnerable areas. This would be a major advancement to protect the people of Oxford and future generations. This is Jake Gutteridge, BrookesTV, Oxford.
With the cost of living crisis impacting people across the country,
University students are questioning whether university food prices are justified.
Freven Pereira has more.
University canteens are a vital place for students to have something to eat during their busy time on campus. But are the prices reasonable or unfair?
Today we are here at Oxford Brookes University where students are raising concerns about their canteen food prices. Stick with me to find out why.
I think they could definitely be better, especially as someone who's a regular customer. I think that the prices are quite expensive for what they are.
Just the other day I went in and I wanted to get they had a beef brisket with potatoes and a couple of other things, and when I got the food there was a piece of baking paper in the actual meal, and then I went over to the counter and I said, is there a head chef I can speak to, anybody I can talk to about these issues? And the guy kind of just came out. And I said, look, there's some baking paper in my food. That's not really appropriate, is it? It's not really good quality. And he just said, oh yeah, sorry mate, it happens. And that's kind of all the attention I got. And I got sort of offhandedly offered to get a new plate of food, but the food wasn't really worth it.
Now let's listen to what the canteen manager has to say about this topic.
Usually they are happy with our prices, but sometimes they are complaining. I mean, if compared to others, for example, the other restaurants, to be honest, our prices are not bad, but they are still working on it to make it cheaper than now. I think all campuses doing that. We have special offer, around normally £10-11 a menu, proper menu, but between 4 and 7 o'clock, £6. Always they are trying to reduce the prices with meal deal options, with half price options, to save the food and also make students happy.
Despite the canteen's defense of the pricing strategy, it's evident that students' concerns must be addressed through action.
Solutions may include better price adjustments or better deals for students. It is clear that something needs to be changed. This is Freven Pereira, BrookesTV.
The Blackbird Leys Leisure Centre received more funding for the youth club.
I went to investigate how the improvements will benefit the members. Good morning. Today I am here at the Leys Pools and Leisure Centre. Facilities here include a swimming pool, gym and fitness equipment, group exercise classes, yoga and a cafe. City Council Cabinet Member for Housing, Linda Smith, said the sign outside the leisure centre could do with a bit of a scrub. The council have announced that underused space at the centre is set to receive £1.3 million of funding to aid a new youth hub. This also includes the building of a new cafe, climbing wall and social area.
Do I think the refurb will be successful? Yeah, I think that it will be a success because of the track record of the company that's going to be changing management here.
The City Council controversially approved recommendations last month to transfer operation for the city's leisure services from Fusion Lifestyle to Serco Leisure.
Activities and that sort of thing. So I think so, yeah, there could be more to the gym area and more to the recreational side, not just the swimming.
Do I think people will be keen on joining? Yeah, they will be because people are already keen and it's just going to grow more. People are going to be able to see what we're building here and they're going to want to join in.
Oxford City Council has secured the funding in a partnership bid with Oxfordshire County Council, and this plan was approved in September 2023. The Youth Hub, which the City's Council Cabinet approved in September, will aim to drive positive outcomes for young people, including improved mental and physical well-being and skills for life and work. Dave Morrell, Oxford City Council Leisure Manager, said, "We can be happy about keeping all our centres open in Oxford. We want to try to reduce barriers for people taking part in leisure activities."
Anything that's going to improve a facility, it's got to be welcomed.
Ella Holsworth-Hunt at BrookesTV News reports. The Wallingford Rugby Club hosted a huge charity cycle ride.
All the way from Edinburgh to Rome in aid of MND, Aggie Waldron has...
Here today, they're hosting an amazing charity event for the Doddy Foundation, cycling all the way from Edinburgh to Rome via all the Six Nations rugby grounds.
Doddy Weir was a friend of mine. He's known me all my life. He's a little bit older than me. Huge inspiration in many ways. Opened up doors quite literally for me, gave me lots of opportunities. And when he was diagnosed with MND, there hadn't been a huge amount of progress in finding treatment or a cure, and he didn't like that and said it was time for somebody to disrupt what was going on. We are one of the teams, but we are Doddy's Grand Slam, so we're going to visit all 6 of the nations who take part in the Six Nations. As well as raising money, and as we stand at this point, I think we're on about 117,000. That's just for our team, but we also want to raise awareness.
Obviously, Doddy Weir was a huge inspiration to all of us within the rugby world, and it's really nice just to give something back, raise some money, and also raise awareness of this fabulous charity.
But yeah, I was privileged to know Doddy, so he was such an inspiration to everybody. You know, you see what Kevin Sinfield's done, what Rob Burrow's done, how he has brought MND to the forefront, and it was just Doddy's personality. He just so much wanted to raise awareness, to raise funds, and hopefully try and find a cure for this horrible illness. So he's inspired us all.
We raise money every January. The guys doing the challenge spotted that and asked if we would host them. We were delighted to say yes. But the aim is to try and let the guys come in. We'll feed them. We've got some physio lined up for them. They're going to speak to our vice presidents, because we've got a vice president's lunch today, talk about what they're doing and why they're doing it, raise some awareness around the cause. They're also going to talk to the Petonka crew who are down the park, who are also doing an MND event today. And the view is to try and 1, raise awareness, and 2, raise as much money as we can for the cause.
And also we want to inspire. It might be that the next generation see inspiration in what we do and become a rugby player, a scientist or a doctor, or just try and help people for their own causes.
The charity's aim is to raise money and inspire people to take action on the fight against MND. Today they have raised over £11 million. This is Aggie Waldron, BrookesTV.
That's it for this half.
Coming up, we have reports on new controversial traffic measures.
And we will be learning about an up-and-coming sport at universities.
See you after the break. Welcome back.
We now have Alfie McSloy investigating the increasing number of students in Oxford using Voi electric scooters.
But how safe are they?
Over 1 million journeys just like this one have taken place in Oxford since Voi's electric scooters first appeared in 2021. But what do people actually think of them? I'm here in Headington to find out.
I don't use them a lot, but I have used them. I think they're really good.
I think they're convenient, but they're not safe. Getting to the station is brilliant, but that Magdalen roundabout's absolutely awful, and I think it's a complete death trap.
You can get through the traffic a lot quicker than your conventional mode of transport.
I was going to uni from Paul Kent, and then it was a bit rainy, and the Voi just slipped over, and yeah, I just injured my whole arm through that.
He came into lectures the next day, and I remember seeing scars all over his arm.
I crashed into the back of a police car accidentally about a week and a half ago, and fell off because he tried to pull me over because I had a friend on the back, so it was slightly. It was a slightly sort of conspicuous situation.
Voi states that last year 740,000 journeys replaced 173,000 car journeys. Are they a danger to the public's health, or are they the future to sustainable urban transport?
It's difficult to regulate, isn't it? Because people on bicycles, they're exactly the same. Half of them don't wear helmets and they're constantly being killed. So I mean, it's the same on any of that type of transport where you're not enclosed in a vehicle, really.
Well, you do need a provisional license to get one, but it's how easy it is to get on one, realistically. Instead of waiting for a bus, then just grab a Voi quickly.
I think they could do with not being along with cars and buses. I think there should be maybe an extra bit of pavement for them to go on.
Yeah, definitely. I think it keeps more people out of the cars, and then there's less carbon emissions, obviously, in Oxford, because their main plan is for it to become a 15-minute city and all that stuff. So yeah, definitely, it keeps more people out of their cars, but the congestion's still terrible on the street, so it hasn't made a huge difference.
I would say people would probably opt to go on a Voi instead of driving if the traffic is bad.
but I don't know that it fixes the car issue.
While many people feel that voice scooters are a health and safety risk, 62,000 users still use them as a cheap and convenient way to get around. This is Alfie McSloy for BTV News.
House prices increased by 1.5% in Oxford in November 2023.
Making it harder for students to afford to live in Oxford. Max Ariza reports.
Oxford has been deemed one of the most expensive cities for students in the world, according to new figures from student databases. Housing for students has become more expensive in the last year, especially for international students.
We are in Oxford Brookes University campus talking with students about the ongoing housing crisis across the UK.
A lot of the boys that I live with pay for their house themselves, and so through the prices going up and bills going up, they found that it's increased the stress for them through having to work more.
I think some students have had to find jobs. Some students, one of my housemates has had to have a job and work three sort of 5 days a week. So he's only got 2 days off a week to sort of enjoy his uni life.
Yeah, I think in the last year that house prices have definitely shot up a little bit, and everyone in our house has felt the pinch a little bit.
Oxford is ranked 6th in the world, with an average weekly spend of £205 a week on rent. We also asked some students about how their accommodation choices were affected by this.
I mean, the sacrifice I made for next year is number of bathrooms. So I've got one bathroom between 4 people for a cheaper house.
Next year I'm moving into a house that actually doesn't have a garden, which is outdoor space, which is quite painful.
Just the competition, sheer numbers. At the end of the day, there's just us in the uni there's so many people fighting for the houses. It's just pushed the prices through the roof. So yeah, a lot of people, not enough houses.
Oxford Brookes and many other universities across the UK are working hard to offer the best accommodation services in order to minimise the effect of this crisis.
I think Brookes Lettings is good. They are very flexible with students in terms of bills. They kind of put it around your student loans and stuff. If they manage to have a larger platform and gather more properties, I think a lot more students will be willing to go to student-friendly, property places rather than chancellors or something. They'll be very professional, very strict. They won't really offer much help regarding your bills and stuff.
This is Max for BrookesTV talking about the housing crisis across the UK.
Low traffic neighbourhoods in Oxford are causing disputes for locals.
I went to Cowley in Oxford to find out more. Today I'm standing by the St Mary's bollards, which were one of the first bollards to be introduced in Oxford in 2022.
The bollards have now been implemented into most of the streets around Oxford to make the area's low traffic neighbourhoods. The aim is to make the streets around Oxford quieter. I spoke to some locals around Cowley to ask for their thoughts on the bollards and whether they think it is making a difference and turning Oxford into a low traffic neighbourhood.
Yes, they have made the side roads of Oxford a lot quieter, but unfortunately Cowley Road itself is now chock-a-block because everyone's going that way instead of using these roads.
The bollards were first tested with plastic ones in 2020, and the Oxfordshire County Council spent more than £75,000 on fixing the plastic bollards. The plastic bollards were run over, burnt and stolen by protesters. Oxford County Council decided to make the bollards more permanent, so they spent £86,000 on wooden structure bollards, which have also been damaged by the public, and so far the council have spent £26,862 fixing them.
So the scheme came about through active travel funding that was made available by the government during the COVID pandemic as an opportunity to bake in some of the unintended benefits of the pandemic, in other words, much quieter streets. There are enormous benefits to the people who live there. You go down to Larkrise Primary School in the morning and you see hundreds of children arriving on foot and by bike, chatting to their parents and their friends. It's wonderful, and that just wasn't possible before when you're trying to fight with cars everywhere. Yes, I think they've been a huge success, yeah. They have to be seen as part of a suite of overall policies, and the County Council has the traffic filters policy coming in later this year, which will significantly reduce overall traffic. That is the policy that will deal with congestion as a whole.
In 2023, the council decided that the bollards are here to stay. Let's see how they progress and whether the public change their opinion on them. Annabelle Bastide reporting for Brookes TV News.
Next up, we have Talia Ewing reporting in Bicester with David, who is training to run a marathon.
But the twist is, he's running in a rhino costume.
Talia Ewing reports.
I'm here in Bicester to talk to David McNabb, who is currently training for the London Marathon, which he is going to complete in a rhino costume to try and raise money for the Save the Rhino International charity.
Hi, I'm David McNabb and I am running the London Marathon to help save the rhinos. So in South Africa I worked as a ranger, helping to protect rhinos and helping to educate. But what started out as a 3-week volunteer programme turned into 11 years working in the industry and working my way up throughout different lodges and different reserves. And quite often you're going out armed as well, because the people that are looking for the rhinos to illegally hunt them are armed themselves and dangerous. So it is a very dangerous job, but it's also a very rewarding job in that sense as well. You're putting back and you're helping to protect, this amazing species.
On average, one rhino is poached every 16 hours. There are 5 species of rhinos in the world. There's the Javan rhino, the Sumatran rhino, the black rhino, the greater one-horned rhino, and the white rhino. Since COVID, due to unemployment, rhino horns have become even more desirable.
The main issue is education, because what the rhinos are being poached for at the Horn is just keratin. So Save the Rhino International has been going for quite a few decades now, and they've been responsible for helping fund a lot of different programmes. So they've been having the rhinos run at the marathon for quite a few years now. I think it's about 30 years. And they're quite iconic with the London Marathon as well. There's about 10 to 15 that run it every year. And if you watch the marathon, then you can't miss them.
David runs between 10 and 30k almost every day. He often wears a 10-kilogram weighted vest to get him used to the weight of the costume and hopefully help him achieve his aim of beating the world record and finishing it in under 4 hours and 6 minutes.
So I was more confident before doing a few training runs in the suit, but I have put a lot of training into it, so I'll definitely be going for it, and fingers crossed.
This is Talia All-Ewing reporting from BrookesTV News.
A new sport is becoming more popular at universities.
Sam Sporborg finds out more.
Paddle tennis is a racket sport that combines aspects of tennis and squash together, and over the last few years has become extremely popular in the UK. It is also one of the fastest growing sports in the world currently. One of the main reasons why it's become so popular in the last few years is because of the multiple social and physical benefits, as well as its accessibility, and as a result of this, it has been a big part of many communities. This includes universities, and in this news package we'll be looking at the growing popularity of paddle as a sport at Oxford Brookes University, who have recently started a society for this sport. So let's go speak to some of the players who are currently training here at MVP Paddle and see what their opinions are of the sport and the physical and social benefits behind it.
I think the society's affected their uni experience in a really positive way. It's created a kind of community atmosphere with socials and come in here. It gives people a place to come and meet up with their mates, play some sport, and basically have a good time.
It's been a great club, and especially being vice president as well. It's been great to see the club grow from what was nothing, from phone calls between us and Marcus to what it's become today, people turning up Tuesday, Friday, and just that sense of enjoyment. We all get along, all happy to play with one another, and there's no real disagreements or anything like that. It's just a great club to be a part of.
As we've seen, paddle tennis has become extremely popular at Oxford Brookes due to the multiple benefits around it, and allows the students to get away from the campus and enjoy some fun time with their friends playing a competitive aerobic sport. However, this growing trend isn't just limited to Oxford Brookes. Multiple campuses around the world are also participating in the sport, and so many more communities doing the exact same. It's a sport for everyone, and the physical and social benefits around it are numerous. So if you're a student interested in the sport, why don't you grab a paddle and come see what it's like for yourself. Sam Sporborg reports.
That's it for this week. Thank you all for watching.
You can watch all of our previous episodes on the Oxford Brookes YouTube channel by going to youtube.com/Oxford Brookes.
And please don't hesitate to get in touch with us by emailing brookestv@brookes.ac.uk.
See you next time.
Goodbye.